Hello everyone, in the next few minutes I'm going to review the 5 big changes I said to watch for in 2020, way back in January 2020. Feels like a long time ago, doesn't it? I'm going to discuss what did or didn't happen in immigration and share how this may impact your immigration goals going forward. I also want to answer some questions that keep popping up over and over on our channels, so I know people want to know more about DACA and VAWA. I will talk about that today. If you don't know me, my name is Mejer. I came to the US as a child and I didn't speak English. My family hired an immigration attorney, I say attorney in quotes, who didn't help them. I was lucky enough to get my green card with President Ronald Reagan's amnesty program and then got my citizenship after I became an adult. I know what my clients are going through and do everything I can to help their immigration journey be as stress-free and quick as possible. If you want to know if we can help you, we can't work with everyone who contacts us, but give us a call today. If we can't help you, we won't take your money. What did I say would change in US immigration in the year 2020? You can check the link below for that video. Talked about 5 big changes. 1, fee increases. 2, citizenship test changes and increased citizenship petition denials. 3, electronic filings. 4, public charge. And 5, asylum obstacles. One thing none of us foresaw was COVID. Not only did it impact everyone in the entire world, immigration in the US has been immensely impacted. I want to share with you more about that before moving to my assessment of those 5 big changes. So initially, USCIS offices were shut down throughout the US for 3 whole months, which slowed processing down substantially. We have seen cases taking 2 to 3 times longer than what they were taking before COVID happened, and it was slow even then. Add in that USCIS claimed they had fewer applications and therefore less funding, so they threatened to stop working even after they reopened. While they have, for the time being, postponed furloughing employees, they have said that operational reductions have impacted their day-to-day operations, which translates to we'll keep being slow and we may never speed up. Due to COVID, the Department of State suspended all routine visa services at all embassies and consulates starting in March 2020. Many remain closed throughout the world. Since the US borders with Mexico and Canada have closed to all non-essential travel, except for very limited situations, this has hampered those seeking asylum. It's hard to file for asylum when you can't even be allowed into the country to request asylum. COVID spreading through detention facilities has been a nightmare for the people in facilities. At least 8 deaths and over 6,000 infected that we know of, and I suspect those numbers are quite a bit higher. Many immigration courts were closed and currently have limited processing. It is frustrating to many, myself included, that some immigration courts demand in-person hearings for trials requiring anyone involved to be near other people. I have joined a lawsuit with other New Jersey attorneys requesting that Executive Office of Immigration Review in Newark conduct their trials through video, which has worked well for other courts throughout the country. In response, EOIR, the Immigration Court Agency, is rolling out video trials throughout the country. It is not perfect, but we are thankful that the lawsuit has been successful. Video is not a replacement for in-person. However, in circumstances like these, where people's lives are at stake, it's the best we have. Then we have the many people whom we have lost to this terrible disease. Unfortunately, many immigrants are in positions that are considered essential work, and they can't work from home. This means they're exposed to COVID, and due to socioeconomic circumstances, they may have less access to good health care and be more likely to die. Claiming COVID made it necessary, in April, the Trump administration imposed a ban on people entering the US from certain countries and then extended that till the end of the year. In June, this was also extended to certain employment-based non-immigrant visa categories, meaning other people trying to come into the United States. Customs and Border Patrol started to expel people at the border without letting them seek asylum and claimed it was due to following CDC protocol. All MPP or Migrant Protection Protocol hearings have been suspended indefinitely. Both of these actions have impacted over 160,000 people seeking asylum at our borders and are seen by immigration advocates as probable violations of international and U.S. law. While Congress has passed several stimulus measures, including the CARES Act, that's Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act for COVID, they have almost without exception excluded immigrants from any benefits. This means that the essential workers who are forced to work with the public every day and are therefore more likely to get COVID have little to no relief if they do get sick and or are out of work. Also, the CARES Act had grants designed to help college students, but the U.S. Department of Education worked to limit those to U.S. citizens and with a few exceptions. Now, let's talk about the immigration changes we predicted in January. What did happen and what I think will happen moving forward. The first change, fee increases. No surprise, it happened. It is not unusual to have fee increases for USCIS. What was different about this increase and why so many in the legal immigration community fought against it. As I talked about previously, fees increased in 2017. That was the first time they had increased in 13 years. So there wasn't much pushback or concern in the immigration community. Why is this one different? This was an increase within 3 years of the last one. Overall, it was a 23% increase for fees, and that's a big jump for a short period of time. It was a change to almost every type of application, including asylum, which has traditionally been free. It felt like a big slap in the face because USCIS processing times have not sped up at all. Denials have gone up. The number of visas available for each category have decreased. So most people see this not to make a better government agency, but a backdoor way of decreasing immigration. So what happened? Let's take a look. The fee changes were set to start on October 2nd, 2020. And as with most of the new policies for immigration, courts have stopped them, saying that the acting head of Department of Homeland Security, Chad Wolf, and USCIS, Ken Cuccinelli, were not in their positions legitimately, so any changes they made aren't valid. Do I think the Trump administration will be able to get these going before they leave office? No, I don't. They would have to get Congress to approve or appoint someone and then to pass those again, and I don't think that's going to happen. Do I think there will be fee increases moving forward? Yes, of course. As with any business, and USCIS operates from the revenue it brings in, for the most part, the cost of business usually goes up, doesn't go down. So that means you need to earn more as a business or USCIS. What I'm hoping is that it will be a more reasonable increase, proportionate to the need. For example, a cost of living increase. As we hear more, we'll be sure to let you know. The second change addressed the citizenship test. Yes, there is a new test. Anyone taking the test on or after December 1st, 2020 must take the new version. I talked all about it in a video we posted just a few weeks ago. Take a look down below if you want us to review those specific changes. But to do a quick recap, there are now more questions, 128 instead of 100. You must answer more questions correctly, 12 out of 20 rather than 6 out of 10. And the questions aren't as straightforward as they used to be. I suggest you watch the video I'll link to below to get more specific information. This will likely result in more denials, but it's still too early to tell. It is not unusual to get a new test. It usually happens every 10 years. And this one took 12 years. However, this test seems designed specifically to make the citizenship process harder, which is par for the course with this administration. Increased citizenship applications denials. Look, We have seen denials increase with all applications with USCIS, not just citizenship. We think or hope that will change with the new president. If you are worried there might be something in your past that disqualifies you, talk to an attorney right away. In our office, we do a background check so that there isn't any surprises. We don't want you to waste your time or money if there is something in your past that disqualifies you. If that's the case, don't file the application. Fix that situation first. If you want to know more about this, go check out my 5 big changes video. In there, I talk about the look back period, the crimes that can disqualify you, and how USCIS considers how you got your green card. All of those will be looked at by USCIS when deciding if you will be approved to become a citizen. Third change, electronic filings increased. Yes, USCIS has said they want more electronic filings. And with COVID, many people are doing just that, filing electronically. Our offices still files most applications via snail mail. We send in too many pieces of evidence and don't trust USCIS enough to do it all via electronic filing. Maybe that will change with the new administration as well. If you hire an attorney, they will track the case for you, so you don't need to worry about it, although you can always check your status online. For us, we hope that immigration joins other government agencies and goes completely electronic. Until then, we will continue using our present system. Next change was the public charge. Now, the public charge was a roller coaster this year. It was going to be applied in February, then USCIS said they won't apply it because of COVID, then they said they would start being applied in July, then judges throughout the country said it was not valid, then it was valid. Then it was going to be applied by USCIS and applied retroactively back to February, and finally, it was stopped completely. This goes back to the head of DHS and USCIS not being in their positions legally. Do I think it will come back? As I've said in every video about this subject, being able to financially support yourself has always been a requirement to enter the US as an immigrant. And by always, I mean since 1882. I think that everyone is being financially impacted by COVID, and I think that it should be considered for immigrants. Will it be? We will have to see. Right now, it isn't applicable, so I suggest that if it's a concern for you, you submit any application for a green card to USCIS immediately. Don't wait. Fifth change, asylum obstacles. We knew at the beginning of this year that Trump administration would continue to reduce asylum applications. In addition to closing the border and making people remain in Mexico while their applications are processing, if they are being processed. A recent policy that went into effect on August 25th, 2020, and that I talked about in a video, is that asylum applicants now must wait an entire year to apply for work authorizations. Before, you used to be able to apply for work authorization within 180 days of applying for asylum. This means that you could work legally while your application was processed, which sometimes takes 3 to 5 years. This new policy says that asylum seekers won't be able to apply for work authorization until 365 days after they submitted their initial application. How are asylum seekers supposed to live in the US for over a year without working? These are people who have left their homes due to fear or death or persecution, so that means they most often are very poor and without any belongings. The Trump administration is hoping that they're going to give up and leave the US. Will this policy stay in effect? I'm not sure. We know that there are over 400 changes to immigration policy that this administration put into effect that the Biden administration may need to overturn. As I've said in other videos, we could spend an entire day going over those changes. We know that this administration continues daily to damage the immigration system. They know they won't be in power come January 20, 2021, and they are doing everything they can to push their anti-immigrant agenda. Everyone in the immigration legal community has a list of priorities they would prefer the new administration handle ASAP. It's going to be exhausting to try to right the wrongs that were put in place to end legal immigration to the US. Our law firm is 100% behind legal immigration. We hope that the US becomes the welcoming harbor for many that it was before the current administration took over. As things change, we'll be sure to let you know right here. We've had several people ask about DACA requirements. I have made several videos about this, but I wanted to cover this very quickly for you. To be eligible for DACA, you must do the following. 1. Have lived continuously in the US since June 15, 2017. That means you were here on that date and from then until now. 2. You were under age 31 as of June 15, 2012, the date it was initiated. 3. You were physically present in the US on June 15, 2012, and when you submit your DACA application. That means if you are in the US, you can't apply. 4. You didn't have legal status on June 15, 2012, because if you did, you didn't need DACA. 5. You have come to the US before you were 16. No, you couldn't be 17 or 18, unfortunately. You must be under age 16 when you entered the US. 6. Have a GED or high school diploma or are currently in school. And 7. You don't have a criminal history. If you have some criminal history, I would talk to an immigration attorney to see if you can still qualify. And you must now be 15 years or older today when you're applying for DACA, unless you are in removal proceedings. Finally, we've had several people ask us when VAWA will be reinstated. They suggest that no one can apply for a visa through VAWA because it hasn't been reinstated since February 2019. My office has answered individual questions about this on YouTube, but since we've had several people ask us, I thought it'd be wise to address it here. VAWA stands for the Violence Against Women Act. It allows both men and women to obtain a visa and then a green card and finally citizenship if they are a victim of domestic violence. VAWA does not have an end date. Let me repeat that. VAWA does not have an end date. When the news articles and other information say that it must be reinstated every 5 years by Congress, that's confusing. The bill continues to be valid and people can still apply for a visa under VAWA. What happens when it is not reinstated by Congress, as it hasn't been for a while, there are funding and grant programs that are no longer available to many agencies who assist with VAWA processing. The House of Representatives passed the VAWA reinstatement. Senator Mitch McConnell, as he has done with over 400 bills, has refused to allow this to be voted in the Senate. President-elect Biden has said he will make this a top priority in his first 100 days. He was the writer and one of the main proponents of the bill when it was first passed in the Senate. We will certainly let you know when that happens. But if you are a victim of domestic violence and think you may be eligible for a visa under VAWA, please contact our office. That is one of our specialties, and we will let you know if you are eligible and get you started on the right path to accomplishing your immigration goals. Thanks everyone for watching. If you haven't seen them posted, I posted some new videos this past week that you'll want to check out about DACA. It's back, and amnesty. If you need help with your immigration problems, give us a call. We're here to help. Thanks for watching and stay safe.